We're given the problem 4 divided by the absolute value of p plus 12 is equal to 14. And before we set up case 1 and case 2, we need to solve for the term absolute value of p as if it's a variable. Okay. So once we get it into the form absolute value of p is equal to some number, then we can set up case 1 and set up case 2 and then find our solution and graph the solution. So let's go and start with 4 over the absolute value of p plus 12 is equal to 14. We need to get rid of the fraction, so we can do that by multiplying the left side of the equal sign by the absolute value of p and multiplying the right side of the equal sign by the absolute value of p. So let's do that now. So on the left side, we're distributing out the absolute value of p to each of the terms in the parentheses. For the first term, the absolute value of p cancels out with the denominator, and we're just left with 4. For the second term, we get plus 12 times the absolute value of p is equal to 14 times the absolute value of p. So just as if the absolute value of p is a variable, we want to get all of the terms that have the absolute value of p on one side of the equal sign and all of the constants on the other side of the equal sign. So here we're going to move the 12 times p to the right side of the equal sign by subtracting 12 times the absolute value of p. That's going to leave us with 4 is equal to 2 times the absolute value of p. Now that we're here, we need to get rid of the 2, and we can do that by dividing both sides of the equal sign by 2, and that leaves us with 2 is equal to 1 times the absolute value of p, or just the absolute value of p. Now that we're here, let's go ahead and flip this around, and let's call it absolute value of p is equal to 2. Okay. We finally reached our goal. The term with the absolute value is on one side of the equal sign, all alone, and we have a value on the right side of the equal sign. So now we can go ahead and set up case 1 and case 2. Case 1, we're going to remove the absolute value and set it equal to 2. For case 2, we're going to remove the absolute value and set it equal to -2. And that is our solution. Our solution is to set 2, comma, -2. I'm going to put a box around that. And what is this really asking? What value is 2 units away from 0? Okay. So let's go ahead and graph this. And what is going to be our center point? Well, again, to find our center point, you set the expression inside of the absolute value equal to 0 and solve for the variable. You could see here that since we only have the variable p inside of the absolute value, that we don't need to solve for the variable. And our center point is 0. So what is this asking? What value is 2 units away from 0 on the number line? So on the right side, it's going to be 2. And on the left side, it's going to be -2. Okay. And that is the solution we got by completing the problem algebraically.